Welcome, dear lovelies. Today I will explain a new lesson in your MCB textbook. This is Geordie's Fawn. Geordie's Fawn is a very touching, sensible, sweet lesson about a child and his consciousness. And this story is being written by Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. So this is the image of Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. She was an American author who lived in rural Florida and wrote novels with rural themes and settings. And her best-known work, The Yearling, about a boy who adopts an orphan fawn, won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1939. And one more important work is there, that is Crow's Creek. So these are the two important works of Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings, and they are The Yearling and Crow's Creek. And this lesson, This is Geordie's Fawn, is an extract that has been taken from the popular fiction The Yearling. So this is all about this author Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. Before going to the lesson in detail, let me tell you a glimpse of this lesson. This is Geordie's Fawn is a very touching story that tells us about a little child and his consciousness. It revolves around the emotions of Geordie and his pure heart. When a snake bites Geordie's father, he kills a dog to save him. He uses the heart and liver for drawing out the poison. However, the loss of that dog and the thoughts about the fawn do not leave his mind. He thinks about it a lot and feels that abandoning him in the woods was not right. So he convinces his family to let him raise the fawn. He even goes to the extent of saying that he will feed him his own share of milk. Everyone finally agrees and goes to the forest to find the fawn. On searching, he finally finds it and brings it home. Now the fawn is safe and being fed by Geordie happily. This is the glimpse of this short story. This is a summary, very simple, light story, and we will be delighted after reading this story. This is Geordie's Fawn. Often, instead of rushing to the doctor to treat a small cut or burn, we find quick and effective cures using the things available at home. Can you think of some such home remedies for a cut on your knee, a burn on your arm, a bee sting? In the story, Geordie's father has been bitten by a rattlesnake. He quickly kills a dog and uses its heart and liver to draw out the poison. Geordie wonders what will happen to the little fawn left without a mother. So in this lesson we can see a home remedy done by Geordie when his father was bitten by a rattlesnake. And in order to save his father, Geordie has killed a dog and used its heart and liver to draw out the poison from his father's body. And now Geordie is totally wondering, he is just bothered about the little fawn who is now living without a mother. Geordie allowed his thoughts to drift back to the fawn. He could not keep it out of his mind. He had held it in his dreams in his arms. He slipped from the table and went to his father's bedside. Penny lay at rest. His eyes were open and clear, but the pupils were still dark and dilated. So now Geordie is totally worried about the life of the fawn, because he has killed his mother, and now Geordie is worried about the fawn, and he is just thinking about him. The whole night he is just thinking about him, and in his dreams he is just holding the fawn in his arms. And now he just slipped from the table and went to his father's bedside, and his father's name is Penny, and he was just laying over there. His eyes were open and clear, but the pupils were still dark and dilated. Dilated means it is still enlarged because of the poison. These all things happened in his body. Geordie said, "How are you feeling, Pa?" Just fine, son. Old Death has gone thieving elsewhere, but wasn't it a close shave? So now Jody is asking to his father, how are you feeling now, Pa? Pa means father. And he just told that old Death has gone thieving elsewhere. Thieving means action of stealing. The old Death, those who came to steal me, has gone somewhere else to steal. And it wasn't a close shave. Close shave means just a narrow escape. I am just escaped from the mouth of death. I agree. Penny said, I am proud of you, boy, the way you kept your head and did what was needed. So now Penny, his father, is telling to Jody that I am really proud of you because you have stayed calm in a difficult situation and did the thing that is necessary for that situation. Pa, yes, son. Pa, do you recollect the doe and the fawn? I can never forget them. The poor doe saved me, that is certain. Pa, the fawn may be out there yet, it might be hungry and very scared. So now, Jody is asking the father, do you remember the doe and the fawn? And father is telling, how can I forget them? Because the doe only saved me and it is very sure. And now, Jody is telling the father that now the fawn might be hungry and very scared. Scared means very fearful, very afraid. And doe means a female deer. And fawn means a young one of this deer. Okay. So doe means a female deer and fawn means a young one. And now the fawn will be very hungry and scared because his mother is no more. So it will be so scared. I suppose so. Pa, I'm a big boy now and don't need to drink milk. Why don't I go and see if I can find the fawn? So now Jody is asking the permission to father that can I go and find out the fawn? And I am a big boy now. I don't have to drink milk anymore. And bring it here and raise it. Penny lay quiet staring at the ceiling. It won't, boy, you have got me hemmed in. It won't take much to raise it, Pa. It will soon start eating leaves and acorns. So now, Jody is asking the father the permission for bringing the fawn from the forest and to raise him in his house. And Penny is totally in a situation where he can't say a no to Jody. And Jody is just making him understand that no, very soon he will be able to eat leaves and acorns. Acorns means small brown nuts. No need to feed him with the milk. You are smarter than boys of your age. We took its mother and it wasn't to blame. Surely it seems ungrateful to leave it to starve. Son, I can't say no to you. I never thought I would live to see another day. So father is just proud of his son and he's telling that you are smarter than the boys of your age and we have killed its mother and he hasn't done anything wrong to us and it will be very ungrateful to leave him starve in the forest. And I was very sure that if I haven't got the help of this doe, how would be I'll be able to survive in this world. I would never thought of surviving in this world for one more day. Now Jody's father has agreed with the thought of Jody and he gave the permission to bring the fawn to their house. Can I ride back with Melville and see if I can find it? Tell your ma I said you can go. So now Jody is asking the permission to father whether he can go with Mr. Melville. So Mr. Melville is a acquaintance of this family. He is just acquainted means a person who knows slightly but not a close friend. That is called acquaintance. So Melville is just acquaintance to this family. And father told Jody that tell your mom that I give you the permission. He sidled back to the table and sat down. His mother was pouring coffee for everyone. He said, Ma, Pa says I can go bring back the fawn. She held the coffee pot in mid-air. What fawn? The fawn belonging to the doe we killed. We used a doe's liver to draw out the poison and save Pa. So now, Jody went seeking the permission to his mom, and by the time mom was pouring coffee for everyone, and Jody said her that Pa gave me the permission to bring the fawn over here. And that time she was totally surprised, and she just held the coffee pot in the air, and she was asking what fawn you are talking about. And Jody made it very clear that the foe that we killed, his mother only we killed, okay, and we use a door sliver to draw out the poison and save Pa. She gasped. Well, for pity's sake. Pa says it would be ungrateful to leave it to starve. Dr. Wilson said, "That is right, ma'am. Nothing in the world comes quite free. The boy is right and his daddy is right. Melville said he can ride back with me. I will help him find him." So, in that house we can see along with Mr. Melville there is a Dr. Wilson, okay, and he is also acquainted with this family, and he just came to look after Jody's father, and he also agreed with Jody's thought, and he told that both father and boy they are right and you should agree with it. And Melville is happy to help him, and he is saying that I will ride along with him and I will help him to find the fawn. She set down the pot helplessly. Well, if you will give it your milk, we have nothing else to feed it. Melville said, "Come on, boy, we have got to get riding." Ma Baxter asked anxiously, "You will not be gone long?" Jody said, "I'll be back before dinner for sure." So now the problem is that when we are bringing the fawn to the home, we have to give it something to eat, and now it is a very small one, and obviously it should be fed with milk. And Ma Baxter, this Baxter means this family is called Baxter family, and Ma Baxter means Jody's mother, okay, and she asked him, "Will you give it your milk? And if you are happy to give it, there is no trouble in it." And now Jody and Melville is ready to search for fawn, and mother is asking him whether you will be coming fast, and Jody exclaimed that, "Yeah, I'll be back before dinner for sure." Melville mounted his horse and pulled Jody up behind him. He said to Melville, "Do you think the fawn is still there? Will you help me find him?" "We will find him if he is alive." "How do you know it is a he?" So now Melville mounted his horse. Mounted means it is a word we are using for riding an animal, and it is typically for a horse. Okay, he just mounted over the horse and pulled Jody up behind him. And Melville was ready to help Jody, and Jody asked Melville, "Do you think that the fawn is still there, and will you help me to find him?" And now Melville is surprised to hear that Jody is using the word he, and how he is very sure that the deer is a male one. How you are very much sure about it. Now Jody is making clear how he understood that it is a male deer. The spots were all in a line on a dog fawn. Pa says the spots are very which way. So how I understood that it is a male deer, because the spots were in a line. It was in a symmetrical way, and for a dog fawn means a female deer, it will be in different directions. So it was in a line, so obviously it is a male deer. It is a fawn. Here Jody and Melville, they have reached the forest. Jody gave himself over to thoughts of the fawn. They passed the abandoned clearing. He said, "Cut to the north, Melville. It was up here that Pa got bitten by the snake and killed the doe, and I saw the fawn." So now they reached the forest, and they just passed through the abandoned clearing. Abandoned clearing means a place, an open space in a forest, especially one cleared for cultivation. Okay, they just passed through that way, and then Jody told to Melville that just cut to the north, and here only my father was bitten by the snake and we killed the doe and saw the fawn. Suddenly, Jody was unwilling to have Melville with him. If the fawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen. And if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so secret that it could not endure to share it. So now there is a change in the mental status of Jody, and now Jody is unwilling to have Melville along with him. There are two reasons. First thing is that if the fawn is dead now, he doesn't want to show his disappointment to Melville, and if the fawn is there, he wants the meeting should be so special and lovely, and he doesn't want to share it with Melville. He said, "It is not far now, but the shrub is very thick for a horse. I can make it on foot." So now he is making excuses to Melville that now the shrub is very thick. Okay, so it will be very tough for the horse, and now I can walk on my foot. "But I'm afraid to leave you, boy. Suppose you got lost or got bitten by a snake too." But Melville is afraid to leave Jody alone because he is afraid whether he will be lost somewhere or he would be bitten by a snake. "I will take care. It might take me a long time to find the fawn. If he is wandered, let me off right here." So Jody is making a promise that I'll take care of myself, and I guess it will take a long time to find out the fawn, and if he is wandering, it will be a lot of time. So better to leave me off here. "All right, but you take it easy now. You know north here and east. There and there the tall pine makes a bearing. So long, Melville, I am obliged." So now when we are going to forest, we should be very particular about the directions. And Melville is making him understand that see this tall pine tree, and just take the help of this pine tree, and it will act as a compass, and it will help to identify the directions. He waited for the sound of the hoofs to end, then cut to the right. The shrub was still. Only his own crackling a twig sounded across the silence. He wondered for an instant if he had mistaken his direction. So now Jody is waiting for the sound of the hoofs to end. Hoofs means the horny part of the front of the foot of a horse. That is called hoofs. So he was just waiting for the sound of the hoofs to get end, and now the shrub was still, and only he can hear the crackling sound of the twigs when he is stepping over it, and now he is a little bit afraid whether he had lost the way. Now Jody is walking in the forest. Now we can see then a buzzard rose in front of him and flapped into the air. Buzzard means a large bird like the vulture that eats the dead flesh of dead animals, and it just flapped into the air. And he came into the clearing under the oaks. Buzzard sat in a circle around the carcass of the doe. They turned their heads on their long, scrawny necks and hissed at him. He threw his bow at them, and they flew into an adjacent tree. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed fresh, and they had left the doe to the carrion birds. So now we can see a situation in the forest. Okay, so right now Jody is little bit worried whether he lost the way, and by the time he had seen a group of buzzards sitting over there. Buzzard is a large bird like a vulture who used to eat the dead bodies, and they were just sitting around the dead body of the doe. Carcass means a dead body, okay, of the doe. And while seeing Jody, they just turned their heads towards him and hissed at him. Hissed means a sharp sound like S, this sound. And they were trying to attack him. But what he had done, he just threw his bow at them. Bow means a main branch of a tree. Okay, it will be a thick part of a branch, and he just threw at them, and they just flew into the adjacent tree. And On the sand, he was able to see some cat prints, but the big cats killed fresh and they left the doe to the carrion birds. The big cats are not interested to eat the dead body, so they just left the dead body of the doe for the carrion birds, means the buzzards. He parted the grass at the place where he had seen the fawn. It did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. The fawn was not there. He circled the clearing. There was no sound, no sign. The buzzards clacked their wings, impatient to return to their business. He returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours, studying the sand for the small hoof prints. The night's rain has washed away all tracks except those of cat and buzzards. So right now, Jody is totally worried about the fawn, and he is just parting the grasses. Parting means just pushing or moving the grasses to see whether the fawn is there. But it was not there, and he was even thinking that only yesterday I had seen him, and now there is not even a single footprint of this fawn. And he just circled around the clearing, means he walked around the clearing, and there was no sound and no sign. Only we can hear the sound of the buzzards. They are clacking their wings, and they just want to eat the dead body of the doe. And he returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours, studying the sand for a small hoof prints. He was just looking at the sand very carefully, just to make out the footprints of the fawn. And what happened yesterday? Yesterday at night, it rained heavily and it washed away all the footprints except those of cat and buzzards. So right now, Jody reaches the forest and he is in search of fawn. Very desperately he is searching, and he is trying his level best to find out the fawn. And in the second part, we can see whether he will be getting the fawn or not.